Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Want to grow your business and take it to the next level? Well, here we all are, and we are going to show you how through hard work, perseverance, and a little help and know-how, you can take things to the next level and push the success of your business even further. Let's get going.
Okay.
This is Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Now, on the podcast, we focus on personal development and self-improvement, highlighting disruptive mindset conversations and insights from experts and professionals who are adept in these topics. Now, personal development and self-improvement is a lifelong process that we all must embrace in life in order for us to move from where we are to where we need to be. Now, it's what the effort at the end of the day if we don't give up doing this. Today, I have Richard Hagen, who is also going to talk about personal development and self-improvement, but he's going to be focusing on book publishing. Now, Richard Hagen helps people present, publish, and also persuade. Interestingly, he also runs a publishing outfit. Welcome to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen and Richard Hagen.
Thank you, Omobola, for here. It's lovely to be with you again, to have a chance to chat. And thank you for this opportunity to meet and hopefully share some useful, powerful ideas and insights with the Life Well Lived audience.
Absolutely, Richard. Thanks once again for joining me on the show. I know that we are going to have an interesting time, especially looking at book publishing and how we can really get it right. Now, the number one question I'd like to ask you is talking about the mistakes first-timers make about publishing the book, either going to traditional publishing or self-publishing. What's your own take on this?
Let's start with what are the mistakes first timers make, and that because publishing is there's most people make their mistakes even before they start to write, and those fundamental mistakes go through everything. And also when you flip it around, you get it right, that has a massive impact. We can look at publishing in a minute. So let's look at the mistakes most authors make. Now, for your audience and your readers to understand that I am not biased, I'm not neutral, sorry, that's the exact opposite. I'm not neutral in this. As a traditional publisher of many projects, I have learned through my wallet what mistakes people do that create projects that don't sell and don't create results. And I've learned the good way, what people do that help projects sell and get results for the readers. And the first big mistake that most people make when they sit down to write a book is they write a book that's all about them. And it's about so it's either a book about them, their story, their experience, and it's every page is I, and they just tell you stuff about them, or what their agenda is, what can I, as the writer of this book, get out of this book? Can I get more business? I want to become more of a leader. I want to get able to charge more money. That's the starting point, the most fundamental mistake most people make when they write and then publish a book. The book has to be valuable for the reader, and that has to be the first priority. So the first one is, yes, you can use I, and it's obviously going to bring you and your experience and your insight into it. But if you are not writing absolutely 100% for the value of the reader, then you put a fatal flaw, because why should the reader be bothered? If it's not about and for them, that's where you start. Everything is re-engineered for the reader and for their sake. So that's the first one. I've got two other big ones that people make, and particularly I'm coming at this from the context of an expert, a business person writing a book for business. It's very different for fiction, but my expertise is more in the business space. So most business experts are amazing you get fantastic results for your clients. And the mistake that most people make when they sit down to write a book is they forget all that brilliant stuff they do and think they just have to tell the reader stuff. They have to deliver or do what I call an info dump, full of bullet points, full of facts, full of how-tos. And they forget that they don't do that when they're with their clients. When they're with clients, they create and they do everything to get transformation for their client, for the results. They don't tell their clients stuff. They don't take them through bullet points and big lists. They create change. And if you're going to write a fantastic book, avoid the plague of the info dump, because you see 95% of business books that are written by first-timers, it's just stuff after stuff after stuff. They have dumped info all over the page, and it is boring and deadly for the reader. So you do what you need to do to make your book transformation-driven, not information-driven. And the third thing, the big mistake that most first-timers make is they put no time or effort into becoming a really engaging, emotionally interesting writer. They write in the style of emails or in business reports, or even worse, their writing is exciting as an invoice. Okay, there is a skill to taking the heart and the mind and engaging your reader and moving them to receive your wisdom. So the way to do that is practice writing, discover storytelling techniques, writing techniques that make your writing much more interesting. So those are the flips. Don't deliver information, deliver transformation. Focus always on your reader, put the reader at the center of all your writing, and then become a really good writer, become really able to tell great stories and move people, not just tell them stuff.
Right, thanks for that, Richard. Now we talk about so many folks out there who love to write a book. We want to be an author, we want to be a publisher. Now, I'd like us to talk about some important things that can motivate one to write a book, and laying emphasis to what really should be the basis, right, for writing a book.
Really good question. So I think, again, I'm going to stick to the business or expert space where you're writing as part of your expertise and to encourage other people to grow and to develop. I think there are 3 fundamental stages of authoring a brilliant book. Most people, when they sit down to write a book, they will find themselves, they're doing it because lots of people over they're in their network or their friends or their clients have said, this is brilliant, you should write a book. And so the starting point, they've been told they have to write a book, and they have a fixed picture in their head of what their book should be like, and that's what other people have told them they need to put in that book. And that's what most business people write. They write a book they think they should write, including the stuff other people tell them to do. But it's not curated, it's not shaped for any particular purpose. The next kind of book that people write, and I think this is a much smaller group of people, they sit down and they write about what they know, what they understand, or the experiences they've had, and they write that book down. So it's got lots of value in it, but essentially it's almost like an encyclopedia of all of their knowledge, all of their insight, all of their experience. And I call there's the first one is the book people are told they should write. The second form is the book that the author needs to write for themselves to demonstrate and bring everything together in a way that author goes, I totally know what I'm talking about. And then the final book is the book that the reader needs. And then you strip back everything in that big encyclopedia and you go, what change journey do I want to create for my reader? What 5% of that massive book that I've just written the reader only needs 5%. What's that 5%? And then you shape the entire book to tell that story of change for your reader. So those are 3 different stages of development for a book. Now, with a coach and a mentor, you can jump straight to that final stage, but most people end up just by writing a book that they think they should write, but they don't really know why. It's not got a strategic insight. Good place to start is just write a book for the sake of making sense of everything for yourself, but that is not the book that should get out in the world. It's the book for the reader that should get out in the world.
All right, now talking about focusing on how you can make impact in the lives of the reader. So what are the types of books that we can write about, if truly, or if we really have the knowledge or the passion to write a book? Oh, I have the passion, I have a burning desire to write a book, but at this point, I'm so confused. I don't know which area or niche to focus on. These are some of the questions that are in the hearts of my audience. So how do they go about that?
So again, I would go back. I will always go back to who is it for? If you can't, if you've got a lot of stuff that you want to write about, but there's no fire, I would say, fire in your belly, there is no passion. If it's then don't write a book. You're wasting your time and your energy and potentially readers. So until you must write about this so that you can create dramatic impact on your audience, don't waste your time on writing a book. This is unusual in this. I spend a lot of my time trying to persuade people not to write a book. There's a massive book coaching, vanity publishing industry designed to tell you, oh yeah, you write a book, and here's how you can do it in 7 days or 14 days or 21 days. All those strategies are doing is stroking your ego, because it's all about you. Until you have a clarity in your mind of who you are writing this book for, what change and impact and what you want to, if you're going to change their life and you've got to write that book, that's the only time to write it. Otherwise, why should people waste their time and energy reading a book that's just another book written without any clarity and without any expertise? So don't just write a book because you think it's a good idea. Write a book when you really know that you've absolutely got to do this. It's an expression of you. It's part of creating your legacy, and it's changing people's lives. Now, that can be a fiction book. Mainly it's going to be non-fiction, but if you're just writing for the sake of your own writing, yeah, write that book, but don't waste time getting it published because it wasn't written for anyone. Okay, so write it for somebody and design that change journey for them. I'm saying the same thing all the time, but that's because in the publishing industry, there are every other voice pretty much is going to tell you, I'll just write stuff down. And it doesn't work. It does not work because it's deadly dull. Okay, and when you're with your clients and with your people, there's no such thing as a minimum viable product in a book. If someone picks up your book, it looks rubbish, it reads poorly, it's boring and deadly, you have irrevocably damaged your brand and your reputation, and you will never know about it. So for goodness sake, only write a book when you must, and you've got to do it to change the lives of your audience and your readers. Okay.
Right now, we want to talk about self-publishing and traditional publishing. Now, we have some folks out there who will desire to self-publish their book because we have to consider the process of really, putting our book out there to the society. Sometimes it can be very expensive, and sometimes you look at the readers, the clients, the editors and the book publishers bring to our doorstep, and we want to just quit. I don't want to go to the this route. Now we also look at the traditional self-publishing, which has been with us right from the outset. But we have the argument of the self-publishing versus the traditional publishing, which is good for me at this time.
So there is such a range of what people think of traditional publishers and self-publishing. Lots of the big publishing businesses that people are familiar with aren't as traditional as we might think. So I know someone who wrote one of the Dummies books, very famous brand. And so that person's name is on the book, but they had to buy 5,000 copies of that book. So that's one of the world's biggest traditional publishers, but that person paid to get published. Okay, so that's particularly in the non-fiction space, traditional publishing, self-publishing, hybrid publishing, partner publishing, they all move in and out. I think there's a couple of questions that a smart business person or expert or writer in the space needs to ask themselves. The first thing they should ask themselves is, be honest and rigorous with yourself. What skills do I have at high quality that are needed to take my manuscript, my text, and turn it into a really high quality book? And that means, can you look back at your manuscript and be objective about it? Can you critique it and say, how will a reader respond to this? Does it make sense? Are there things missing? And to be honest, most people don't have that ability to detach because they've spent 6 months writing this. They know it inside out. But if you can do that, so that's one thing. Can you be objective and analyze what the quality of your text is? Can you see if there's bits that are missing, if things are in the wrong order in the text? That's something to think about. Do you have the skills to build a marketing strategy? Because again, one of the tragedies that people who write a good book, they think magically it's going to sell itself. And if you think, more than 5 million books in English are published every year. 5 million. If you have no strategy for marketing and promoting and leveraging that book, it will disappear into the void and into the noise. So you've got to treat it like a business. So if you've got marketing skills and strategy, keep that, measure yourself on all of these. Can you edit? Can you spot grammar, typos, all of these things? How is your book design? Can you lay out a book so that it looks brilliant, like a top quality professional would? Do you know which patterns to go to? Do you know which places to go to where your book will be distributed? And will you manage the life of your book? These are all skills. Your answer to them, if you can say, yeah, I can do all of that and I can do it really well, then you should self-publish. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Because if you self-publish and you do it in a professional way, then you get all the money that you make from that. You have all of the control, and you are the controller of the quality of it, which is a good thing. But for 90% of all self-published projects, the quality is poor because they have not got the skills, or they have not brought people on to their team to deliver those skills for them. And this is where traditional publishing, you make a lot less money, but you have a partner who know what they're doing and make sure it's a really professional, high quality, because it's their brand as well as yours, but you also have less control over that. And then there are lots of spaces in the middle. So as a publisher, there are projects that we publish around gender, race, orientation, neurodivergence, which we publish on a traditional basis that we invest in our money and our time. And then all of our other projects, all of the business projects and books that we publish them commercially as a partner. So we charge to publish, but we do it in a way that it's rooted in collaboration, not control. So the author de-risks the project by funding it up front, so they make much more money. And that's what a partner publisher does. The money equation shifts. You make less per copy than you would if you were self-publishing, but you make a lot more than you would make if you went to a traditional publisher. There's so many options here, but it comes down to your skill set, where you're at in the game of control, if you don't work well with other people, then do it all yourself or run your own team. But if you know that you will get a better quality product experience for your readers by being part of a team or getting a team, then look at partner publishing or traditional publishing.
Thanks once again, Richard. We like to talk about the relevance in the industry. Really, the question on the mind of my audience is, Richard, is writing a book, is it really compulsory?
Is it compulsory?
Absolutely.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Oh, no. Right, okay. There is a phrase, everyone has a book in them. Are you familiar? Have you heard that phrase? Certainly in the UK, they have the phrase, everyone has a book in them. And I neither agree nor disagree, but part of me goes, I've read plenty of books that I wish had stayed in that person because the quality is not there, because the experience isn't there. So I think it's thinking you can sit, you can journal, you can write for yourself. That's really valuable and incredibly important in personal development, to write, to journal, to reflect. But that's for you. That has a function for you. But as a publisher, anything that is published, and certainly in our business and our philosophy around it is, it has to be of value to the other person. So no, it is absolutely not compulsory to write a book. And again, speakers, trainers, coaches, consultants, they're all being told you must write a book. No, just don't swallow that. Only write something which is top quality and which is different. There are, again, of that 5 million books a year that are published in English, in the non-fiction space, the same book is being written and published. The 5 magical steps to social media success, the 7 keys to personal happiness, and they're all saying the same thing because they're all regurgitating information. So yeah, please don't write a book unless it's different and it's valuable. Okay, otherwise you're just adding to the noise, and you will disappear into the noise of those 5 million plus. Do the work to make it brilliant and stand out and have the strategy behind it. So no, I might be very unusual as a publisher, but unless it's really good and you're going to do the work to get it out in the world, save yourself money, save yourself time, save yourself energy, and don't publish, and step away from those who stroke your ego and say, just by getting your book on Amazon, you become a published author. Forget the published author romance. It's a business that is brutal, and you're successful in it when you create value, just as we do in our own businesses.
Now, Richard, talking about writing a book, there are some pitfalls that we need to avoid. Don't you think so? Can you share some insight with us?
So we've looked at the fundamental ones already, the III, the info dump, and the not actually improving any writing skills from when we were in school things. I think another angle on this is that a big one is that the people mistake anecdotes for stories. So we know that stories are the best way to teach things. They get inside of us and we remember them, and they move us. First of all, they move us emotionally, and then they kind of work their magic so that we learn stuff as a result of having been moved by it. But most people think that by saying, on Monday, I did this, and then on Tuesday, this happened, and then on Wednesday, this miracle happened, this result came out. They think that's a story. No, it's not. It's an anecdote. It's a succession of facts presented. A story stops your heart. A story makes a lump appear in your throat. It makes you go, oh my goodness, it terrifies you, excites you. You know, so most people, when they write in their business book, they write stuff chronologically. If you look at most fun, great stories, they will drop you into the middle of something really exciting, terrifying, thrilling. and then the story emerges backwards or forwards or jumps about. You don't just tell it on Monday, this happened, Tuesday, this happened, Wednesday, this happened, Thursday, this happened, Friday, this happened. It's deadly. It's a series of facts pretending to be a story. A story stops you. A story moves you. A story changes you. Factoids don't. So go for story, not anecdotes.
And once again, Richard Hagen, thank you for sharing your thoughts on this important topic. Do you have any exciting news you'd like to share with my audience, perhaps?
I have exciting news. I run a publishing business called Power Publishing, and that is the kind of end of process. So when someone has a manuscript, and we either publish it as a traditional project or as a commercial project, a partner project. We have just, myself and my partner in that business, Martin Pentecost, we have just started a brand new business. It's in the UK, it's called a community interest company. It's called Calliope's Voice. And that it's a community interest company. Is like halfway between a charity and a regular business. So it's a kind of not-for-profit, but business. And that is a space that will be an online platform, a training space for people from marginalized and other communities, whether that's through gender, orientation, through mental health, physical disability, neurodivergence, or race, anyone who has experience of being marginalized in others. It's a space of nurture and welcome and training so that they can process the story, shape the story, learn lots of narrative and authoring techniques and media techniques so that they can then share their story and start to change the narrative of their communities and within the wider community. So that we've just literally registered that business, and we're about to start raising funds to get that business and that project. So that's Calliope's Voice. It's calliopekick.com. No site there yet, but it will be hopefully by the time the podcast is out. And yeah, so that's super exciting because that's it brings all of the skills we've had in mentoring, but to that vital space of being othered and marginalized, and those people who are not seen or heard. We want to help them be seen, be heard, and create change.
Absolutely, that's a great news you sharing with us, and we're looking forward once again to you coming over to the show to share more about this project, worthy and also laudable. I wish you best of luck in this project and in subsequent ones, Richard.
Thank you. I'd love to. Maybe 6-9 months there. Well, we've got things moving. It'll take a while, but we'll get there.
Absolutely. Like to have an parting words you'd like to share along?
Yeah, I think the thing is that whichever book, if you choose to write a book, do it. Go for it. Don't go for minimum viable product. Go for maximum transformation for your reader, and do what you need to do to get that transformation. Learn new skills, get people that you trust to help you on that project. Put the time and the love and the craft into it and learn the craft. You can always find there's loads of resources and ideas at empowerpublishing.com, at thealternaterealitycompany.com, and I have my own site at hagendoes.com. So thank you again for inviting me along, Omobola, and to hopefully sharing some challenging but useful insights about book writing and publishing.
I appreciate your time and your thoughts once again, Richard Hagen. Like, if you like to catch up on any missed episodes of Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, you can catch up on any podcast cross-promotion platforms or podcast distribution platforms that you bump online, and you can listen to expert professional thought leaders share their thoughts, insights, disruptive mindship conversations on topics or subjects under personal development and self-improvement. Till I come your way, I need you to always stay safe. I talk to you soon. Oh my God.
Right.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.